Howdy, howdy ho! Greetings, it is GleeCon, and I am pumped to be here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. As you can see on the screen today, we will be journeying in with our girl Maleficent, so stay a while and listen as we jump into that. I'm going to just get right to the meat of it as we recap a little bit here. Of course, we've been reading the World of Warcraft Dungeons and Dragons setting. We read that last episode. We did some dark factions. We read about the green dragon flight. Just a snippet. I had some pretty cool comments in both interest in future episodes and from OG commenters about the episode. So I'm glad. Thank you guys for tuning in. On the last episode where we played through Classic, we did Talanji. We started doing some Ashenvale quests. We saw Sharp Talon. And again, excited to keep going with her and also get back to Shalasir soon as she continues from the Alliance side to quest through Ashenvale. We've Millicent here is part of a trio of characters. This trio has been running through the Redridge Mountains final quests, and they're all done. We are done with this zone. Put a little bow on it, wrap it up. We are all done with Redridge. So all Millicent is doing is here to do that. She's here to take her cute little stacked Elvira hairstyle and put a bow in it. So we'll continue kind of talking about that because we'll have time in transit. But let's just turn in some of these quests and listen to our chat GPT voiceover with these two quests. So Thrilzun is
go with honor, friend.
He was, I think he was the leader. Yeah, he's the Actually, I'm pretty sure he's the guy, the mini-boss that you fight outside, and to me, he's just as tough as the other boss. And then we also have the Shadow Magic. So Shadow Magic is the orbs that you have to grind out from the Warlocks. He says, how goes your conflict with the Shadowcasters? Did you find the Midnight
Thank
orbs?
you, Adventurer. I'll send these to be destroyed immediately.
You do that, sir. Thanks for the 30 silver. And then he also says, orc pressure from Blackrock is still tense, but have you at least rid us of Thrilzun?
Thurlzun was a vicious, crafty orc. Well done. I'm sure he didn't go down easy. Here is your reward, Adventurer.
Thanks, bro.
Be careful.
Alright, so I'm also now honored with the Gnome Gone Exiled. Look at that. They love me over there. They love me in that home away from home. Sitting there in Ironforge, which is where we will hearth to soon, but we'll have to make a little run. And before we get into the full mission recap, let's turn in the last quest in Redridge, and then we are officially for reals, done with this little city that we've been having.
What can I do for
Magistrate Solomon Gathelzog is the true leader of the Blackrock Orcs in the region, the top of the tower, and he says, what do you have there, gnome?
Fantastic work, Adventurer! Gath-Ilzog led those brutes into battle, killing many innocent humans. Vindication is ours. This is the first step in reclaiming the keep for the Kingdom of Stormwind.
Good. I'm very thrilled to help you with killing Gath-Ilzog. Okay, so now we have to walk over to the tower in Elwyn Forest. So while we do our little hike to said tower, let's talk about how this went, how it went with our other characters, and how it went with Maleficent. Okay, so the first thing that we did was we picked up the prereq quests with Erator. So this is recapping how we finished it. He went over here. Actually, the first thing he did was he went to Elwyn. We're walking now to the Tower of Azor, and he got a quest that says, hey, we want to spy on the Shadowhide gnomes in the area, gnolls, and we need to find a good spot. Well, there's a little lion statue over here to the east of the Tower of Ilgalar. You go drop that off, and he says, yeah, but I want a better, even better spying spot, which is at the top of this tower in Stonewatch Keep. You do have to fight some orcs. I soloed it with most of my characters, and I've done this with 4 different sets of characters now over the past 2 weeks, let's say. We'd have to look at the timestamp on Erators to really get a fixed number on that, but approximately. So Erator soloed his way to the top of that tower. We did that on camera. He killed the orcs in the area. He's just pretty OP right now, and he was able to do that all on his lonesome. And at the top of that tower, he turned in that quest. Then there's a new quest that appears, which it would be, wow, I can't imagine doing it without Questy. You'd have to go back and check that little statue just out of your own volition. So you go there, and he says, yeah, but I really want to get I really want to fight the guy at the top of the Tower of Ilgalar, because he has a pendant, and I think if I took that pendant, then I could really stop him controlling the gnolls or launch some attacks or whatever. That tower is definitely soloable. It's not elites. If you're a magic user, it's a little tough because there are the demonic hounds, the familiars throughout, and they drain your magic on every hit. But that's where we left Eretor. He then grouped up because I made it to the top of the tower. I teamed up with another pally when I got to the top, or maybe, I don't remember actually what it was. It was another character. Maybe it was a warrior. I think it was a warrior now that I think about it. And the boss is essentially at this level range not soloable because, for one, the leader is part of a 4-pack. He's a warlock with a succubus, so you basically have him as a level 27 elite, and you have his level 27 succubus, and you have 2 level 26 shadowcasters. So the concept of even slow rolling that would be difficult, but maybe not undoable depending on your class. But the kicker is when he gets down to about 25% of his life, maybe a third of his life, he summons a level 30 abomination as yet another minion, and that guy wrecks shop. But still, sure, you could hypothetically kill him and maybe do a suicide death in that and go back. So it's probably not undoable. But even two-manning it was hard, and what ended up happening with Eretor is we picked up a couple other characters. We ended up redoing it, refighting to the top of the tower, and then we proceeded to go on and have a very fun time. I really enjoyed it, fighting our way through the keep over here, which is the Stonewatch Keep, where the real seat of power for the Blackrock orcs in the region. We fought the outside mini-boss. We ground out the midnight orbs from the Shadowcasters, and we fought our way into keep proper. It's not really a tough keep. It's a lot of it's kind of crumbled down and shut off. And teamed up and took out the leader, and then he went and turned in all the quests. Okay, so then Take 2 actually happened completely off camera. That is the questing series I've been doing with my wife. She is a gnome rogue, and I'm a gnome warlock, and pretty much from jump, we picked up as part of a party. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 other people, but we had a nice party. Kind of think it was 2 others, and it was just fun, engaging. It was my second time, so I had a better idea of what to expect. It was just the perfect level of challenge without being overwhelming. Not very many, if any, deaths. It was just an all-around fun. It's those kind of things that really make the group play of World of Warcraft Classic dear to my heart. All right, so the third session was what we did with Nessingwary, the hunter. So again, he picked those quests up. He also soloed his way to the top of the tower. It was a little bit more difficult, but he pulled it off. And then I turned the cameras on. Right as I did so, or right before I actually pushed record, a level 41 gnome mage said, "Hey, I am down to help you." I don't know why, because they weren't on any of the quests, and they don't get XP. They said, I'm down to help you if you don't mind the slightly reduced XP. And it's really not that much of a reduction. You get maybe 50% as much. And then I think one more person picked up in the group, and we very easily got carried. And you can watch that episode to see all of that. Then I turned in all the quests with him and proceeded to go to his next zone. He is going to be questing in Hillsbrad. And so really, I did a very long hike to Hillsbrad on my own, and it
King's
was,
honor, friend.
You know how that kind of thing goes. Boring. But it is what it is. There's not a lot we can do to avoid that from time to time in this game. I'm just going to set off a couple of these things. Here we go. Let's turn this one out. We have 2 quests here, and I'll talk about again these 2 quests. One of these is called Theocritus's Retrieval. So he says, "I spoke to you through a pendant, you say? Give it to me so that I might study it." Now, this is a drop quest. You get something, it says Faded Shadowhide Pendant, but when you pick it up, it's called a Glowing Shadowhide Pendant, and I guess now it's faded. It says the spell on this pendant is faded. Here's what he says.
"You have my gratitude, adventurer. I sent that message to the Shadowhide Pendants weeks ago and had believed it a failure. But it seems the spell did reach at least some pendants after a significant delay. In time, I hope to learn how to send an attack through the pendants to immobilize any Shadowhide gnolls.
That would be great.
But before that is possible, I'm afraid that much more research is required.
Research he will never get to. And he gives you Restoring Balm, which is a healing potion. It's actually a hot that you can use as an item, and you can use it on other targets. So it's an interesting item. You get 3 of them, but whatever. And we'll talk about my journeys to get that drop quest as well. This is the Theocrat, or the guy at the tower, the Morganth. When you finally kill him, he now says, "Hurry, Maleficent, before my fears of Morganth spreading his power are made real." This is what you get when you kill Morganth at the top.
You have done well, adventurer. In defeating the warlock Morganth, Stormwind is saved from a grave peril. I offer you this reward most humbly, and I would bid you peace, if these were peaceful times. But instead, I will bid you luck with your trials, and victory in the conflicts ahead.
Okay, and this is the one
For the
character
Alliance.
where the rose mantle is actually worthwhile. So, it's not quite as cute as the last, but intellect and spirit, and a little bit more armor. So just all around a solid upgrade for a mage. Well worth the quest for sure. So what we're going to do now, because Maleficent is done, she's turned in her quests, and while we are going to continue our talk, and while we do so, she is going to make her way to the next zone. Her next zone, where did my pen go? I'll mark it off later, but her next, oh, here it is. Her next zone is an actually nice sequential area. She's going to go take it to the Wetlands. So we're going to go ahead and flop. We're going to hearth over to Ironforge, and then we'll hop on a flight path into Loch Modan, and we'll make our way just up to the fringes of Wetlands. And the next time we play with her, that's what we'll do. We'll do Wetlands quests. I don't think I have any other characters doing the Wetlands. So, yeah, I don't. So for whatever reason, I only put it on her, even though it's a pretty cool zone. So she's going to get this zone all to her own self. Alright, so the next part is our final part, this run I had through Maleficent. She picked these quests up, and as soon as I got into the zone, I had takers. Actually, there were people asking for groups, so I didn't even have to solo my way to the top of that first tower to do the first couple steps of the Tower of Ilgalar quest line. I just had a group from the beginning. We were a group of 4. That's what we started with. That's what we ended with. We had a dedicated healer druid who did not lift a finger in terms of DPS, but did solid healing, and we had 2 warriors. One kind of, I don't know if they were a tank or they just were switching over to tank spec, but it was fine. I did not die on this episode.
Might have fast steeds, but can those airy pink griffins stand the heat of the Great Forge? I think not.
We did have a couple times where, maybe once, maybe twice, where the warriors, or one warrior died, maybe the healer died, but Maleficent's pretty, she's pretty scrappy. She's died a few times on the show now, but there's a reason why she was our last on our hardcore journey. She was the last one left standing, and part of it's just maybe I play with her a little bit more protectively because she's kind of nestled her way into my heart as one of my favorites. Even though the power curve at this level, I know mages are kind of OP in Classic, but she needs some gear upgrade. She needs something. Even though her staff is solid, she's just, I don't know. She's not hitting quite as hard as she used to, and maybe she'll come back and get there. So it was fine. We made it to the top of the tower, smooth, tight. I was calling out the shots. I was kind of captaining the run, and then we did. My apologies for the lack of professionalism. Then we went back, we picked up the next quest. Actually, she did die off camera solo. I just died when I was running over to the quest. I wasn't paying attention, and I was chatting to the party, kind of coordinating where we were all going to meet and stuff, and I ended up pooping the bed a little bit on that one. So she died before I ever even started anything. Now, this guy has 2 quests. Let's just check this out since we're in the neighborhood.
Hello, adventurer. Welcome to Thelsamar. And while you're here, don't forget to visit our local brewery.
I won't. They make the dwarves sound like British.
Mountaineer Rockgar is looking for volunteers for a mission through Dun Algaz and into the Wetlands.
Cool.
If you want to get your boots wet in that soggy county to the north, then speak with Rockgar at Dun Algaz. Dun Algaz is north up the road, beyond the guard tower.
Absolutely, we will.
What can I do for you?
Pilot Stonegear loves his siege engine, as every pilot should. And he's always eager to find new ways to improve his tank's firepower. He heard rumours of a rare ore, and is looking for someone to hunt it down for him. If your boots are starting to itch, then find Stonegear at Steel Grill's depot in Dunmorrow and see what he wants.
Alright, so in that one you have to get an ore called Incendicite. If you're a miner, it's not that hard. You go over here, and I can't remember where the Incendicite happens. I want to say you can mine it somewhere in that vicinity, but I don't quite remember. I actually have started that quest off on my on the questing with Lady Gleekon because we're trying to do everything, but neither of us are miners, so we've just been shopping the auction house. You can find Incendicite on there from time to time. I believe you need 5 pieces of the ore, so between the 2 of us we need 10. But there wasn't that much Incendicite available at the time. So we'll do that with old Maleficent at some point, but we're not going to really stress it right now. We will on this episode, though, do this quest to rock our way through the Algaz Gauntlet while we're here. It's just tap on so you can see a little bit with Maleficent. So, we took the group. What happened actually was, when we got into that, the first part was fine. Up to killing the wizard, it was all good. Then we went into the Stonewatch Keep, and there were 2 other parties. I think they were just grinding mobs for midnight orbs. But one of the characters in my party was just, and I can't judge. You've seen me on camera, for those of you that watch the show a lot. I am very susceptible to this. I will get antsy and jittery and reckless and charge forward to tag mobs in suicidal runs. So when we got to the first mini-boss, we just went in there and we ended up pulling probably about 10 mobs. And we did kill Thrillson. 2 people died. One of the warriors and the healer. And we probably killed a solid chunk of the mobs, but not all of them. And then the other, I got like really low on life, and I knew I was about to be one-shotted, so I bolted out and kind of abandoned them.
Hello, adventurer. You're here for the scouting mission, are you? Very good. I hope your gear is in good condition, because this scouting mission has changed into something more messy.
Okay.
Orcs of the Dragonmoor clan have a haven in the
Gauntlet.
Wetlands, and now they have expanded into Dun Algaz. We can't let them keep their foothold here, or Loch Moden will be cut off from Menethil Harbour, our port and stronghold in the Wetlands. Break through Dun Algaz to the Wetlands beyond, and kill some orcs for good measure. Report to Valstag Ironjaw in Menethil Harbour. Menethil is through Dun Algaz, then north along the road, then west at the fort.
Quite a hike.
We're counting on you, adventurer. Do not fail.
Just says traverse Dun Algaz and then kill 8 scouts, 6 grunts. It's not a hard quest, so we will do it right now. This will be the only real quest that we complete on camera. And actually, we won't even turn it in because we're not walking all the way to Menethil on this mission. So anyway, we regrouped. Everybody picked up the head. Then we went inside. We fought our way. We didn't have any competition for the actual boss of the keep, and we didn't need a ton of grinding. Now, there is a quest, one of those quests that the glowing Shadowheart thing, that's a drop quest. It has a 2% drop rate. All my other characters, just in the course of questing, just had it drop. Some people had it sitting in bags. I wasn't even aware that it was there. We even, with this squad with Maleficent, went out and took a side journey, and we grinded out the other guy's Shadowhide pendant drop quest and killed Fangor, and still she didn't get it. So after all the questing was done, I then went and I had to kill, not a ton, somewhere between 10 and 20 mobs to get it to drop, and then she was ready to go. So now we're here, she is ready to go. She leveled up off camera, so she's 25, but we're going to kill some mobs and make our way through this tunnel. Yeah, all of our ducks in a row. We're not going to fight any mages, so I'll leave the arcane dampening off. I like that spell. Amplifies magic. So let's look. Actually, you know, this is lore of Warcraft. Let's talk about the lore of this, what we're going through. So we just fought orcs. What are the orcs that we fought? Well, we fought Black Rock orcs. So who are they? The Black Rock orcs are the orcs of Rend and Maim. I mean, although Maim is gone, those are the orcs from that tribe. Go ahead and summon some water for ourselves. Grab it if I can afford to. And drink up. So they are the last member. When we read about the Dungeons and Dragons book, they refer to themselves as the Dark Horde, or that's what the game refers to them now as, or that's what that author did. Led by Rend, they're Blackhand's kind of children, or yeah, they are his children, literally, and they are situated in Blackrock Mountain, which is very Redridge Mountain adjacent. And they're powerful, as you can see. They're elites. They're not messing around, and they're also currently the kind of thralls of the Black Dragon Fleet. So what we have here instead is one of the other very few tribes remaining from the original old wars, the Warcraft 1, 2, 3. Really, Warcraft 2 and 3. And this is the Dragon Maul clan. This is the clan that originally was behind the capture of Alexstrasza, and why the orcs have access to dragons, or had them in the second and third war, or second war. There's books behind freeing Alexstrasza, which we read, Day of the Dragon. But they are also, as you can see, they still have a presence on Azeroth, particularly here in the Eastern Kingdoms. They're still doing their own thing, and it would look, I don't know that they are necessarily affiliated with the Dark Horde. It would look like they are not, and they're also weaker than the Dark Horde, but they do have that connection to dragons in the past, and they obviously have a presence here in the Wetlands. And if you look at the big picture map, okay, here is Redridge down here, and Burning Steppes. We also have Searing Gorge. This is where Blackrock Mountain is, I believe, right around here. So we are considerably north from that. And if you remember when we read the book, when Thrall reunited with the Frostwolf clan, he actually traveled his way through here. So it's interesting that the Dragon Maul clan has this pocket of resistance, or pocket of remnants of the tribe. And it's also noteworthy that they're not powerful. They are mobs that are, as you can see, not elite. They're in level 20-ish range, early to late 20s. So it just kind of goes to show the state of that tribe, just as we saw the state of Ren's tribe. Although we really will get a lot more on that. I hate that. Ooh, that was a nice hit. I hate that we're fighting these guys because they shoot, and then that means when they start to freak and run, there's that chance that they're going to pick up another ad that will want to shoot me further. Nice, that was a good crit. I'm waiting to hit some crits above 200. I think I was getting crits above 200 when I had that frost damage staff, but I'm not really getting it. My wife is texting me. She is a nurse. She works in the ER. She saves lives. I just go into Azeroth and take them. I mean, I guess I save them from time to time. It's pretty much the same thing. But she's a night shift. She has been for a long time. She loves it. But one of her favorite things is, you know, because as you can see on the game time, it's midnight. So one of her, which is, I really should be in bed myself. I have to wake up for, I have an early day at work tomorrow. I have to wake up at about 5 a.m. So I should probably go to bed, but I just love you guys so much I had to come. But one of her favorite things is when you are when she's working the night shift and it gets to be late like this, and someone comes in on an ambulance for a quote-unquote emergency, that is so clearly not. So she said her current patient just arrived by ambulance, and their complaint, the reason why they called the ambulance and why they're now in the emergency room at 12 o'clock is because they have had a headache for 4 months. So it's not so much that a persistent headache is not bad. I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not minimizing people's like healthcare issues. I'm not a doctor. I'm not even a nurse. That's my lovely wife's profession. But is it an emergency? This has been going on for 4 months. And it's a headache. And while that headache might be throbbing and pounding and miserable, I'm not saying it's not. You've been suffering with it for 4 months. And now at midnight, you will call an ambulance to bring yourself into the ER. To the emergency room. Is it an emergency? Is it life or death? Is it? I don't know. I'm a nun. It's kind of funny that I married a nurse. I'm not a doctor guy at all. I could count on, other than like routine checkups that I try to do as I get older. I could count on one hand the amount of times that I've been to the emergency room. And I would argue that they were probably actual emergencies. So I just can't get that. I just don't get it. I just don't get the idea. I would never want to go. Like, it doesn't, even if I was the most miserable ever and there was nothing I could do and my head was just killing and I had no solution, I would stick my head in a toilet before I thought to myself, you know what would be really good? Because what's going to happen at the ER? Like, they're gonna give you drugs. So, I mean, if you're drug seeking, by all means, go get your hookup, man. Because that's your thing. That's never been my thing. Not in terms of the pharmaceuticals. I've never been like a pill guy. I don't like painkillers. I never have. Anytime I've had to get like wisdom teeth taken out or broken bones or anything, I just don't take them. I just don't like the way they make me feel. I have a hard time sleeping. I think it's kind of weird, I guess, but I have a hard time sleeping if I take painkillers. I just don't like it. I don't like the way they make me feel, and they don't like. I don't know. So they're just not my jam, and plus I would hate to develop an addiction to where like I was taking painkillers every day and it was dulling my senses. I like to be, especially like in my day-to-day during my work, like when I was young, like I was wild for sure. But as I've gotten older and I've changed, you know, when you're young, it's important to have fun and sow your oats and hang out with your friends, and those are high priority things. Make memories, and as you get older, and I kind of have a bank of those things. I no longer have a desire to go out, and I mean, obviously, I'm happily married. I don't have a desire to meet women. The friends that I have they have families and careers and children of their own, so we might have fun together, but they're not the central people in our lives. You know, my family is the central part of my life, and it's just not a priority to me. It had better if I was going to hang out at a bar. There's only two reasons why I like to go to a bar from time to time. One, if the bartender can make a better drink than I can make, and that's not always the case. Like, I can get a beer anywhere. I can get a beer in my fridge. There is nothing that a bartender can do about a beer that's better than what I could do in my own little bar in my garage. I can make most drinks as good as, but there are some things that are just, you know, bartenders are professionals. It's their craft. So if I wanted a really good like martini or something like that, that'll get me. Or the bartender themselves, the people, ultimately is what it's about, right? The people. You go to a place where the people are cool. So I'll give it a shot, especially for me. It's more like if I'm on vacation or something. I'll give it a shot. And see how that goes. But again, that's vacation. So locally, I also don't live in a town with a huge bar scene. Even like my older daughter, who's 23, she goes to a bar once or twice a week where one of her friends is a bar, like one of her best girlfriends is a bartender there, and they do trivia there. So she goes to like their trivia night once a week, and she hangs out with them. But yeah, that's what even that though, she has to, it's like a 45-minute drive away. So I mean, if I was her age, sure. If I was 23 years old, 24 years old, so I can't even remember. I'm getting too old to know how old my children are. Somewhere in that ballpark. I could do the math if I thought about born in 1999. Yeah, so if I was that age, I'd do it. But anyway, this is how you can tell the episode's been on too long, because now we've just thrown World of Warcraft out the window and I'm just rambling. But yeah, we're almost to our destination. I think we'll get up to this little mini hub right here, and we'll give it a pause. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you made it this long on the episode, you are a champ, and I do not know what, but I'd hang out with you if we were if we were at the bar for sure, or at whatever. If you're not a bar person, I don't need to just. I don't. Like I said, if I go on vacation or a special, like someone else is having some kind of something, or I'm trying to think of an example. I can't even. Sometimes, like my sister and my brother-in-law, we live about 45 minutes apart. So sometimes we will, rather than one of us driving all the way to the other person's house, we'll try to hit up an area like in the middle, and as a compromise, and so we'll try to do that. All right, so we found this kind of mini hub. This is not even a hub. It's just a dude standing on some grass, and this is where I'm gonna log. I think it's fine. We'll hang out with Rathiel the Green Warden. We're definitely level appropriate. I am excited to do this zone. I feel like this is it's gonna keep Maleficent on track, and she shouldn't struggle too hard. But we've reached the end. We have another episode in the pipe 5x5. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching and for listening, and I look forward to making another episode and being with you all next time on Lore of Warcraft.